Like, subscribe, and turn on notification for more amazing video. Respect!
Lonely human ordered a mail-order bride, then an alien woman, twice his size, stepped off the... Alex wiped his sweaty palms on his perpetually stained tank top for the 5th time in as many minutes. The word delivery stretched across his chest like some cosmic joke. He delivered packages, but couldn't deliver himself from the daily humiliation of life in Krell's Landing, the dusty alien settlement he reluctantly called home. The rusty flying taxi ship was already 20 minutes late. Alex checked his pocket watch again, a nervous habit that did nothing to speed up time. Around him, the landing pad shimmered in the afternoon heat, the metal plates warped from years of ships touching down with varying degrees of skill. Still waiting on your imaginary girlfriend, Runt? Alex didn't need to turn around to recognize Drax's gravelly voice. The 7-foot Saurian was the self-appointed ringleader of the dock workers who made Alex's life a living hell. "She's real," Alex muttered, eyes fixed on the empty sky. "And she'll be here." "Sure she will," Drax laughed, his scales rippling with amusement. "Just like you're really gonna stand up to me one day." Alex's shoulders hunched further, making his already slim frame appear even smaller. 3 months of saved wages had gone into the interstellar matchmaking service. 3 months of protein-paced dinners and no new clothes. 3 months of enduring extra shifts of mockery just to afford the premium Galactic Connection package. What if she didn't come? What if this was all an elaborate scam? What if... A distant rumble interrupted his spiral of doubt. A battered transport ship broke through the cloud cover, its engines sputtering and coughing as it descended toward the landing pad. "Holy shit," Drax muttered. You actually paid for a bride." Alex straightened his posture as best he could, heart hammering against his ribs. This was it, his chance at respect, at companionship, at something more than being the butt of every joke in this backwater settlement. The ship touched down with a metallic groan, hydraulics hissing as the landing gear settled. The boarding ramp lowered with painful slowness, releasing a cloud of steam that momentarily obscured the entrance. And then she stepped out. Alex's jaw dropped. The woman, if you could call her that, stood at least 8 feet tall. Her skin was a vibrant blue that seemed to glow in the afternoon sun. Her physique was powerfully athletic, with muscles that rippled beneath her skin as she moved. She wore a simple gray cotton dress with practical pockets and a pair of massive military-grade boots that made the metal ramp clang with each step. In each hand, she effortlessly carried a metal suitcase that looked heavy enough to require a loading droid. Her eyes, 3 of them, Alex realized with the start, scanned the landing pad until they found him. Her face broke into a warm smile that transformed her intimidating appearance into something almost sweet. "Hi, honey," she called out, her voice surprisingly melodic for someone her size. "I'm your future wife." Behind him, Alex heard Drax and his cronies fall silent. For once in his life, he wasn't the focus of their mockery. They were too busy staring at the blue giantess approaching with purposeful strides. Something shifted inside Alex. A lifetime of shrinking away, of accepting his place at the bottom of the social hierarchy, suddenly seemed ridiculous. He had ordered a bride, yes, but what he'd received was so much more, an opportunity. With newfound confidence, Alex stepped forward to meet her, a smile spreading across his face. "Welcome to Krell's Landing," he said, extending his hand. "I'm Alex." She set down her suitcases with a heavy clang and took his hand in hers, her palm easily engulfing his entire hand. "I'm Tara," she replied, her 3 eyes blinking in sequence. "From the Proxima system. Your profile said you were looking for someone different. I hope I qualify." Alex glanced back at Drax and his stunned companions, then up at his towering blue bride. "You're exactly what I needed," he said, feeling truly confident for the first time in years. "Let me introduce you to my co-workers." Alex led Tara toward the loading docks where Drax and his cronies had gathered to watch the spectacle. With each step, he felt a strange, new confidence flowing through him. The weight of years of mockery seemed to lift from his shoulders as Tara's imposing presence followed closely behind. "So these are your colleagues?" Tara asked, her melodic voice carrying across the landing pad. Her middle eye narrowed slightly as she assessed the group of aliens. "Not exactly colleagues," Alex replied, loud enough for them to hear. "More like obstacles." Drax's scales rippled with agitation as they approached. The Saurian straightened to his full height. Impressive by most standards, but still a foot shorter than Tara. Well, Drax said, attempting to maintain his usual swagger. Looks like the little human actually found someone desperate enough to… To what? Tara interrupted, stepping forward. Her three eyes blinked in sequence as she looked down at Drax. Finish that thought. I'm curious. The loading dock fell silent. Even the usual background noise of machinery seemed to pause. I was just saying, Drax continued, his voice noticeably less confident, that Alex here must have paid a pretty credit to get… Tara set down her metal suitcases with a thunderous clang that made everyone jump. Let me stop you right there, she said pleasantly, though there was steel beneath her words. I'm Tara, Alex's fiancée. And you are? Drax, the Saurian muttered, suddenly fascinated by his own clawed feet. Well, Drax, Tara continued, where I come from, we have a saying, judge a being not by their size, but by the size of their heart. She placed a massive blue hand gently on Alex's shoulder. And this human has the biggest heart I've ever encountered. Alex felt warmth spreading through his chest at her words. Whether she truly meant them or was just putting on a show, he couldn't tell. But in that moment, it didn't matter. Now, Tara continued, I'd like to see where my future husband lives. Would you be kind enough to help with my luggage? She gestured toward the heavy metal cases. Drax looked at the cases, then at Tara's muscular arms, clearly aware she had no actual need for assistance. This was a test. Sure, he said finally, moving to grab one of the cases. He strained visibly, barely managing to lift it a few inches off the ground. What's in here? Starship parts? Just the essentials, Tara replied with a wink to Alex. A girl needs her things. As they walked away from the landing pad, Alex's cramped living quarters in the settlement's residential block, their destination, he felt Tara's hand brush against his. Without thinking, he took it, marveling at how small his fingers looked intertwined with hers. Thank you, he whispered, quiet enough that Drax, struggling behind them with the suitcase, couldn't hear. For what? Tara asked, her three eyes focusing on him with genuine curiosity. For that. Back there, you didn't have to stand up for me. Tara squeezed his hand gently. That's what partners do, isn't it? Besides, she added with a mischievous smile, I've always had a thing for smaller men. There's something appealing about your human proportions. Alex felt heat rising to his cheeks. Really? The matchmaking service didn't mention that in your profile. There's a lot the service doesn't know about me, Tara replied, her voice dropping to a husky whisper that sent a pleasant shiver down Alex's spine. I'm looking forward to showing you. They reached Alex's living pod, a small, prefabricated unit stacked among hundreds of identical structures in the residential block. It was barely large enough for one person, let alone someone of Tara's stature. It's not much, Alex said apologetically as the door slid open. Drax dropped the suitcase with a relieved grunt. Have fun fitting her in there, he snorted, though his usual malice was tempered with newfound respect. See you tomorrow, Alex. He nodded curtly at Tara before departing. Alone at last, Alex watched as Tara ducked through the doorway, her head nearly brushing the ceiling once inside. She surveyed the tiny space, the narrow bed, the minimal kitchen area, the single chair at a fold-down table, and turned to him with a warm smile. It's perfect, she said. You don't have to lie, Alice replied, suddenly self-conscious again. I know it's small. Small can be cozy, Tara said, stepping closer, and I like being close to you. The air between them seemed to crackle with electricity. Alex looked up at her, taking in her alien features, the three expressive eyes, the blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the pod's dim lighting, the graceful strength in her every movement. I never expected someone like you, he admitted. And what am I like? She asked, her voice soft. Beautiful, he said simply. Powerful. Kind. Tara's three eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture Alex was beginning to recognize as her equivalent of a blush. You're not what I expected either, she confessed, but I think we might be exactly what each other needs. The shrill beep of Alex's work communicator shattered the intimate moment. He reluctantly pulled away from Tara, whose three eyes blinked in mild disappointment. Sorry, Hannah, he muttered, fumbling for the device. Delivery guys are always on call. Tara settled herself carefully onto his small bed, which creaked ominously under her weight. No need to apologize. I knew what I was signing up for when I chose a working man. Alex answered the call, his expression shifting from annoyance to concern as he listened. But that's in the red sector, he protested. Can't someone else? He sighed heavily. Fine, I'll be there in 20 minutes. He ended the call and turned to Tara with an apologetic grimace. Emergency delivery. Some diplomatic package needs to get to the Vexian embassy in the red sector. The red sector? Tara's middle eye narrowed. Isn't that the dangerous part of the settlement? Yeah, Alex admitted, already changing into a slightly cleaner tank top with the same delivery logo. It's where all the smugglers and outlaws hang out. Usually they assign those routes to the bigger couriers, but everyone else is busy with the supply ship that just docked. Tara stood up, her head nearly brushing the ceiling. I'm coming with you? What? No, you just got here. You should rest. Get settled in. Alec, she said firmly, placing her massive hands on his shoulders. Where I come from, partners protect each other. Besides, she added with a mischievous smile, I'm curious to see more of this settlement. 20 minutes later, they were speeding through the dusty streets of Crail's Landing on Alex's delivery hoverbike, at a battered model that struggled under their combined weight. Tara sat behind him, her powerful arms wrapped around his waist, her chin resting on top of his head. This is nice, she murmured, her breath warm against his scalp. On my planet, the females usually drive. You want to take over, Alex offered, enjoying the feel of her against his back. Maybe next time, she replied. I like watching you work. As they entered the red sector, the settlement's appearance deteriorated rapidly. Clean prefab structures gave way to makeshift buildings cobbled together from salvaged ship parts. Aliens of various species lurked in shadowy doorways, their eyes following the unusual pair with predatory interest. Friendly bunch, Tara observed dryly. Just keep your eyes open, Alex advised, slowing the hoverbike as they approached their destination, a dingy bar called The Void's Edge. He parked the bike and secured the small diplomatic package inside his delivery pouch. Should be quick. Just need to find someone named Krull and hand this over. I'll come in with you, Tara said, her tone making it clear this wasn't a suggestion. Inside, the Void's Edge was dimly lit and reeked of alien intoxicants. Various species huddled around tables, engaged in hushed conversations that stopped momentarily as Alex and Tara entered. A particularly nasty-looking group of Vexians, insectoid aliens with razor-sharp mandibles, occupied a corner booth. I'm looking for Krull, Alex announced, his voice steadier than he felt. A tall, gaunt Vexian rose from the corner booth. That would be me, human. His mandibles clicked menacingly. You have my package? Alex approached cautiously, Tara close behind him. He retrieved the small box from his pouch. Diplomatic seal intact, as required. Krull reached for the package, but instead of taking it, he grabbed Alex's wrist with surprising strength. And what's this? Bringing your bodyguard to a simple delivery? She's my fiancée, Alex replied, trying to pull his arm free. The Vexian's compound eyes shifted to Tara, then back to Alex. A human and a Proximan? How unusual. His mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. Perhaps we should discuss a special delivery fee. The fee was preset, Alex insisted, his heart racing. Corporate policy doesn't apply in the red sector, Krull hissed. Two more Vexians rose from the booth, moving to flank them. Tara stepped forward, her massive frame casting a shadow over the Vexian. I suggest you take your package and conclude this transaction, she said pleasantly, though her three eyes had narrowed to dangerous slits. Krull hesitated, mandibles twitching nervously. Then with deliberate slowness, he released Alex's wrist and took the package. Of course, just a misunderstanding. As they turned to leave, one of the other Vexians muttered something in their native language that made the others click with laughter. Tara stopped mid-stride. What did you say? She asked, her voice dangerously soft. The Vexian stepped forward, mandibles spread in challenge. I said humans are only good for two things: delivering packages and being prey. What happened next occurred so quickly that Alex barely registered it. Tara moved with astonishing speed for someone her size, her fist connecting with the Vexian's exoskeleton with a sickening crack. The alien flew backward, crashing into the bar. "Anyone else have opinions they'd like to share?" Tara asked calmly, flexing her fingers. The bar fell silent. Even Krull seemed to shrink back. "Let's go," Alex murmured, tugging at her arm. Outside, the adrenaline of the confrontation still coursing through them, they climbed back onto the hoverbike. But instead of heading directly home, Alex steered them toward a secluded outlook that offered a view of the settlement's artificial lake, a rare patch of beauty in the otherwise utilitarian colony. "That was incredible," he said as they dismounted. "Where did you learn to fight like that?" Tara shrugged, her powerful shoulders rolling beneath her dress. "Proxima isn't exactly a peaceful paradise. A girl learns to defend herself." They stood side by side, watching the settlement's twin moons reflect off the lake's surface. Alex felt a strange mix of emotions: gratitude, admiration, and something deeper, more primal. "Thank you," he said simply. "No one's ever stood up for me like that before." Tara turned to him, her three eyes softening. "Get used to it, Alex. Where I come from, we protect what's ours." "Yours, huh?" he asked, a smile playing at his lips. In response, she bent down and pressed her lips against his, an unmistakably human gesture that she performed with surprising tenderness. Alex responded eagerly, his hands finding her waist as he stood on tiptoes to reach her. When they finally broke apart, both slightly breathless, Tara smiled. "Definitely mine." The ride back to Alex's living pod was charged with a new energy. Tara's arms wrapped around his waist felt different now, more possessive, more intimate. The kiss they had shared by the lake had changed something fundamental between them, transforming their arrangement into something neither had anticipated. When they arrived home, Alex barely had the hover bike secured before Tara pulled him into another kiss. More urgent than the first, they stumbled through the door of his pod, laughing as Tara had to duck dramatically to avoid hitting her head. "We should probably talk about sleeping arrangements," Alex said breathlessly as they broke apart. "The bed's not exactly built for someone your size." Tara's three eyes glinted mischievously. "I'm sure we can make it work," she replied, her fingers tracing the outline of his shoulders. "Proximans are very adaptable." What followed was a night of discovery, of differences bridged and similarities celebrated. Despite their vastly different anatomies, they found a rhythm that worked for both of them, their bodies speaking a language that transcended species. In the quiet aftermath, they lay tangled together on Alex's too-small bed, her blue skin luminescent in the dim light of the pod. That was... Alex searched for the right word. "Unexpected?" Tara offered, her middle eye half closed in contentment. "Amazing," he corrected. "On Earth, they never told us that Proximans and humans were compatible." Tara laughed, a musical sound that filled the tiny space. "We're not supposed to be." "My people consider humans too fragile." She ran a gentle finger along his arm. "But I've always found that fragility fascinating. There's strength in it, a different kind than we have." Alex was about to respond when his communicator chimed again. He groaned. "Not another emergency delivery?" But the ID on the screen wasn't his supervisor. It was an unknown caller. "Hello?" He answered cautiously. "Is this Alex Mercer, courier service employee?" The voice was deep with the distinctive flanging effect of a taurian, a bull-like species known for their business acumen. "Yes, that's me. My name is Norvo Keld, head of security for Krell's Landing. I witnessed your interaction at the Void's Edge earlier today. I'd like to discuss a business proposition with you and your Proximan companion. Tomorrow morning, my office, 0900 hours. The call ended before Alex could respond. "That was weird," he said, showing Tara the communicator. "How did he get my personal contact?" Tara sat up, suddenly alert. "Norvo Keld is a big name around these parts. He runs all the high-end security for the settlement's elite. What would he want with us?" "Only one way to find out," Alex replied, trying to sound more confident than he felt. The next morning, they made their way to the administrative sector, a collection of sleek, modern buildings that stood in stark contrast to the rest of the settlement. Norvo's office was on the top floor of the tallest structure, offering a panoramic view of Krell's Landing. The Taurian himself was massive, even by his species standards, nearly as tall as Tara, but twice as broad, with polished horns that curved elegantly from his forehead. He greeted them with surprising warmth. "Please, sit," he said, gesturing to chairs that looked sturdy enough to support even Tara's frame. "Can I offer you refreshments? Water? Proximum tea?" "We're fine," Alex replied, exchanging a puzzled glance with Tara. "You mentioned a business proposition?" Norvo nodded, his bovine features arranging themselves into what might have been a smile. "Direct, I like that." He leaned forward, hooves clasped on the desk. "I've been watching you, Alex Mercer. A human courier in an alien settlement, not an easy position. Yet you've persevered despite the challenges." Alex shifted uncomfortably. "I do my job." "Indeed you do." "And yesterday, you did it in the red sector, delivering a diplomatic package to one of the most dangerous clients in the settlement." Norvo turned his attention to Tara. "And you, my dear, handled those Vexians with impressive efficiency. Military training, I presume?" Tara's expression remained neutral. "Self-defense is a priority on Proxima." Norvo chuckled. "Of course." He tapped a button on his desk, and a holographic display appeared between them, showing various high-value items, artwork, technology, rare minerals. "I have clients who require discreet transportation of valuable goods. The regular courier service is too conspicuous, and my security teams are known entities in the settlement." "You want us to deliver things for you?" Alex asked, surprised. "I want to hire you as independent contractors. You, Alex, with your unassuming appearance and courier credentials, and you, Tara, with your impressive combat skills, make an ideal team. No one would suspect a human and his Proximan bride of carrying items worth millions of credits." Alex felt a flutter of excitement. This could be their ticket out of his tiny pod, a chance at a real future together. But caution tempered his enthusiasm. "What kind of items are we talking about?" "Nothing illegal," Norvo assured them. "Valuable, yes. Sensitive, certainly. But everything above board. I built my reputation on discretion and legitimacy." "And the pay?" Tara asked, her practical nature asserting itself. Norvo named a figure that made Alex's eyes widen. It was more than he made in 3 months as a regular courier. "Per delivery," the Taurian added, noting their reactions. "We'll need to discuss this," Tara said, placing a protective hand on Alex's arm. "Of course." Norvo stood, signaling the end of the meeting. "But don't take too long. Opportunities like this are rare in Krell's Landing." Outside the office, Alex could barely contain his excitement. "Did you hear what he was offering? We could save up, get a bigger place, maybe even our own ship someday." Tara looked less enthusiastic. "It sounds too good to be true, Alex. In my experience, when something sounds that way, it usually is." "But he said everything's legitimate. And you believe him?" Tara's 3 eyes studied him carefully. "What do your human instincts tell you?" Alex paused, considering. There was something about Norvo that didn't quite add up. The way he'd been watching them, how quickly he'd made the offer. But the potential rewards. "I think we should take the first job," he decided. "See what it's really about. If anything feels off, we walk away." Tara sighed, but her expression softened. "One job," she agreed, "but I'm keeping all 3 eyes open." Alex grinned, reaching up to touch her face. "That's why we make a good team. You watch my back, I watch your... Well, I try to watch your back, but you're really tall." Tara laughed, bending down to kiss him lightly. "Let's go tell the hornhead we're in. For now." 3 days after meeting with Norvo, Alex and Tara found themselves aboard a sleek hover transport, heading toward the outskirts of Krell's Landing. Their first assignment seemed simple enough: deliver a small locked case to a mining outpost in the Barren Flats, a dusty wasteland 20 kilometers beyond the settlement's boundaries. "Remember," Alex said, checking the navigation display, "Norvo said the client is expecting us at midday. We hand over the case, get the confirmation code, and we're done." Tara nodded, her eyes scanning the desolate landscape. She'd exchanged her gray dress for more practical attire, a reinforced bodysuit that hugged her athletic frame, complemented by a utility belt with various pouches. Alex had noticed her checking the contents of those pouches repeatedly, though she wouldn't tell him what was in them. "You're still worried," he observed, reaching over to place his hand on her knee. "Something doesn't feel right," she admitted. "Norvo was too eager, the pay is too high, and this route is too isolated." Alex frowned. "You think it's a setup?" "I think we should be prepared for anything." She covered his hand with hers, her blue skin warm against his. "But I'm glad we're doing this together." The tenderness in her voice made Alex's heart skip. Their relationship had evolved with surprising speed, from strangers to lovers in just a few days. Yet somehow it felt right. Natural. As if the universe had designed them for each other, despite their obvious differences. "I've been meaning to ask," he said, steering the transport around a particularly large boulder. "On Proxima, is it normal to develop feelings this quickly?" Tara's three eyes blinked in sequence, that gesture he now recognized as her version of a blush. "Not typically, no. Proximans usually court for months before becoming intimate." She gave him a sidelong glance. "But there's something about you humans that's intoxicating." "Oh?" Alex grinned. "Care to elaborate?" "Your adaptability," she explained, her voice taking on a husky quality. "Your resilience despite your physical limitations. The way you approach challenges with such creativity." Her hand slid up his arm. "It's quite stimulating." Alex felt heat rising to his face. "Well, when you put it that way, huh." A sudden explosion rocked the transport, cutting him off mid-sentence. The vehicle swerved violently, nearly tipping over before Alex managed to regain control. "What the hell was that?" he gasped, heart hammering. Tara was already in motion, scanning the horizon. "There!" She pointed to a ridge about 100 meters away, where three figures stood silhouetted against the sky. "Ambush!" Another blast hit the ground near them, sending up a spray of dirt and rocks. Alex veered sharply, putting a large boulder between them and their attackers. "Who are they?" he asked, ducking instinctively as something pinged off the transport's hull. "Maraxians," Tara growled, her eyes narrowing to slits. "Mercenaries, nasty ones. Why would mercenaries—" Alex began, but the realization hit him mid-sentence. "The package. They're after whatever's in that case." Tara was already pulling equipment from her utility pouches, a compact energy pistol and what looked like a collapsible staff. "Norvo set us up," she said grimly. "Either that, or he didn't tell us everything about this delivery." "What do we do?" Alex asked, and trying to keep his voice steady. Tara's expression softened as she looked at him. "We survive," she said simply. She leaned over and kissed him quickly, fiercely. "And then we make Norvo regret using us as bait." The determination in her voice sparked something in Alex, a courage he hadn't known he possessed. He'd spent his life avoiding confrontation, accepting his place at the bottom of the social hierarchy. But with Tara beside him, he felt different, stronger. "I have an idea," he said, reaching for the package secured between them. "They want this, right? Let's use that." Tara raised an eyebrow ridge. "What are you thinking?" "I'm a courier," Alex replied with newfound confidence. "Delivering packages is what I do." But no one said anything about which route to take. Understanding dawned in Tara's three eyes. "A diversion." "Exactly. I'll draw their attention with the transport. You circle around and take them by surprise." Tara looked uncertain. "It's risky. You could get hurt." "So could you," Alex countered. "But between the two of us, who has a better chance in a direct fight?" She couldn't argue with that logic. After a moment's hesitation, she nodded. "Be careful," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "I just found you. I'm not ready to lose you." The intensity of her words made his chest tighten. "Same goes for you, Big Blue." With a final squeeze of his hand, Tara slipped out of the transport and disappeared among the rocks with surprising stealth for someone her size. Alex took a deep breath, gripping the steering controls with sweaty palms. He'd never done anything like this before, never had a reason to be brave. But now, with Tara out there risking herself for him, for them, he found a well of courage he hadn't known existed. "Okay," he muttered to himself, revving the engine. "Let's show these aliens what humans are made of." He gunned the transport out from behind the boulder, deliberately exposing himself to the attackers. As expected, energy blasts immediately began peppering the ground around him, He swerved erratically, making himself a difficult target while ensuring he remained visible enough to hold their attention. Through the rear viewport, he caught glimpses of the Meraxians pursuing him, bipedal reptilians with elongated snouts and scales that glinted in the harsh sunlight. They were firing some kind of energy weapons, the blast getting uncomfortably close with each shot. "Come on, Tyra," he whispered, executing a sharp turn that sent the transport skidding across the dusty terrain. "Where are you?" As if in answer to his prayer, a flash of blue appeared on the ridge behind the Meraxians. Tara, moving with deadly grace, her extended staff whirling like a propeller. Alex allowed himself a grim smile as he prepared for the next phase of their improvised plan. Whatever was in that case, whatever game Norvo was playing, they were about to change the rules. The plan worked better than Alex had dared hope. While he kept the Meraxians distracted with his erratic driving, Tara descended upon them like a blue avalanche. Her staff whirled with deadly precision, taking down two of the mercenaries before they even realized she was there. Alex circled back just in time to see the third Meraxian collapse under a powerful swing from Tara's weapon. He brought the transport to a skidding halt and jumped out, adrenaline still coursing through his veins. "That was incredible," he exclaimed, rushing toward Tara. "The way you moved, I've never seen anything like it." Tara's chest was heaving slightly from the exertion, but she looked otherwise unruffled. "Basic Proximan combat training," she said with a modest shrug that made Alex's heart swell with admiration. "Nothing special." "Nothing special?" Alex laughed, gesturing to the three unconscious mercenaries. "You just took down 3 armed attackers in less than a minute." A groan from one of the fallen Meraxians interrupted their celebration. The largest of the three was stirring, his scaled hand reaching weakly for a weapon that was no longer there. Tara moved swiftly, pinning the mercenary with one boot while leveling her energy pistol at his elongated snout. "Don't even think about it," she warned. The Meraxian hissed, yellow eyes narrowing to slits. "Might as well finish me," he growled. "Malketh will send more when we don't report back." "Malketh?" Alex stepped closer, curiosity overriding his caution. "Who's that?" "My employer," the mercenary replied with a pained chuckle, "and Norvo Keld's worst nightmare." Alex and Tara exchanged glances. "Why did Malketh send you after us?" Tara demanded, pressing her boot more firmly against the Meraxian's chest. "Not after you," he wheezed. "After what you're carrying." His reptilian eyes flicked to the case secured in their transport. That case contains evidence that could destroy Keld. Financial records, blackmail material, proof of corruption, everything Malketh needs to take control of security operations in Krell's Landing. Alex frowned. "So we're just pawns in some kind of power struggle between rival security chiefs?" The Meraxian's mouth stretched into what might have been a smile, revealing rows of needle-sharp teeth. "Expendable pawns. Keld never expected you to make it past us. That's why he hired a fragile human and his exotic bride. No one would question your disappearance. Just another tragic accident in the barren flats." Anger flared in Alex's chest, not just at being used, but at the casual dismissal of his worth based solely on his species. It was the same prejudice he'd faced his entire life in Krell's Landing, the assumption that humans were weak, disposable. "Well, your boss miscalculated," he said, kneeling to look the Meraxian in the eye. "This fragile human and his bride are still standing. You're not." The mercenary's expression shifted, something like respect flickering across his reptilian features. "Perhaps," he conceded, "but you're still caught between Malketh and Keld now. Neither will let you walk away with that case." "Watch us," Tara said coldly, holstering her weapon. "Can you walk?" she asked the Meraxian. He nodded, surprise evident in his yellow eyes. "Then take your friends and go," she continued. "Tell Malketh that the human and the Proximan are not to be underestimated." After the mercenaries had limped away, Alex turned to Tara, admiration and desire mingling in his gaze. "That was incredibly hot," he said, only half joking. Tara's 3 eyes crinkled with amusement. "Proximans find competence attractive too," she replied, stepping closer to him. "The way you handled that transport, drawing their fire." She traced a finger along his jawline. "Very impressive for a fragile human." Despite the danger they were in, Alex felt a familiar heat building between them. He pulled her down for a kiss that quickly deepened, their bodies pressing together with an urgency born of shared danger and triumph. "We should probably get moving," he murmured against her lips, though his hands were already exploring the contours of her athletic frame. "More mercenaries could be on the way." Tara agreed, though she made no move to break away. "Or we could take a short detour. There's a canyon about 2 kilometers east that would provide excellent cover." Alex raised an eyebrow. "Cover for what, exactly?" Her answering smile was both predatory and tender. "I think you know, delivery boy." The canyon proved to be the perfect sanctuary, secluded and shielded from aerial surveillance by overhanging rock formations. They made camp in a small cave, the mysterious case placed safely to one side as they surrendered to more immediate desires. Afterward, they lay together on Tara's thermal blanket, her blue skin luminous in the fading daylight that filtered through the canyon's opening. "We need to decide what to do about this," Alex said finally, gesturing to the case. "We can't deliver it to Norvo now that we know he set us up. And we can't give it to Malketh either," Tara added, propping herself up on one elbow. "From what that mercenary said, neither of them sounds particularly trustworthy." Alex ran a hand through his tousled hair. "So we're stuck in the middle of an alien power struggle with evidence that both sides would kill for." "Great." Tara's expression softened as she gazed at him. "At least we're stuck together," she said, her voice gentle. "I've faced worse odds alone." Something in her tone made Alex look at her more closely. "You never did tell me much about your life on Proxima," he observed. "What made you sign up for an interstellar matchmaking service?" A shadow crossed Tara's features. "That's complicated," she admitted. "Let's just say I needed a fresh start. Somewhere far from home." Before Alex could press further, a soft, beeping sound came from Tara's utility belt. She reached for it with a frown, extracting a small communication device. "It's a message," she said, her 3 eyes widening as she read the display. "From Norvo. He wants to meet, just the 2 of us, no case." "It's a trap," Alex said immediately. "Probably," Tara agreed, "but it might also be our only way out of this mess." They looked at each other, the weight of their decision hanging in the air between them. Whatever they chose, it was clear their simple delivery job had become something far more dangerous, and their budding relationship would be tested in ways neither had anticipated. "We're not meeting with Norvo, and we're not handing this case over to Malketh either," Alex decided as dawn broke over the canyon. "Our best bet is to get out of Krell's Landing altogether." Tara nodded, her blue skin catching the early morning light as she packed up their makeshift camp. "The interstellar transport hub is on the far side of the settlement. If we can reach it without being detected, we could book passage to one of the human colonies in the Centauri system." The plan was risky but straightforward. They would return to Alex's living pod, gather essential supplies, and make their way to the transport hub using back routes to avoid detection. With the credits from their advance payment from Norvo, they could afford 2 one-way tickets off-planet. They loaded the mysterious case into their transport and set off across the barren flats, the settlement's silhouette growing larger on the horizon. Alex couldn't help but feel a twinge of regret. Despite the difficulties he'd faced in Krell's Landing, it had been his home for 3 years. "Having second thoughts?" Tara asked, noticing his pensive expression. "Just thinking about what I'm leaving behind," Alex admitted, "which isn't much, honestly. Everything that matters to me now is right here." He squeezed her hand, marveling again at how natural it felt despite their size difference. Tara's 3 eyes softened. "On Proxima, we have a saying, home isn't where you rest your head, it's where your heart finds peace." "And does your heart find peace with me?" Alex asked, suddenly vulnerable. Instead of answering directly, Tara leaned over and kissed him with such tenderness that words became unnecessary. When they finally broke apart, her expression was both fierce and gentle. "More than I ever thought possible." They were approaching the settlement's perimeter when disaster struck. The transport's engine sputtered, coughed, and died, leaving them stranded half a kilometer from the entrance. "What happened?" Tara asked as Alex frantically checked the controls. "I don't know," he replied, popping open the maintenance panel. "Everything looks normal, but—" He stopped, noticing a small blinking device attached to the power core. "What the hell is that?" Tara leaned in for a closer look. "It's a remote disabler," she said grimly. "Military grade. Someone doesn't want us leaving the area." Alex's gaze shifted to the case. "You think it's connected to that?" "Almost certainly. The case probably has a tracker embedded in it. When we deviated from the planned route, whoever's monitoring activated the disabler. They were sitting ducks out in the open, with the transport disabled and at least half a kilometer of exposed terrain between them and the settlement. They were vulnerable to another ambush." "We need to move," Tara said, already gathering their belongings. "Can you carry the case?" Alex nodded, hefting the surprisingly heavy container. "What about the transport?" "Leave it. It'll only slow us down now." They set off on foot, keeping low and using what little cover the barren landscape provided. The settlement's entrance loomed ahead, a checkpoint staffed by security personnel who would certainly be on alert for them by now. "We can't go through the main gate," Alex whispered as they crouched behind a rock formation. "They'll be watching for us." Tara scanned the perimeter fence. "There." She pointed to a section where the barrier appeared less maintained. "That's our way in." As they approached the fence, Alex's communicator buzzed, an incoming call from an unknown ID. After a moment's hesitation, he answered. "Mercer?" A familiar gravelly voice greeted him. "Heard you pissed off some important people?" Alex's eyes widened. "Drax? How did you get this number?" "Settlement ain't that big," the Saurian replied. "Word travels fast when a human and his giant blue wife steal from Norvo Keld." "We didn't steal anything," Alex protested. "We were set up." There was a pause on the other end. "Yeah, figured as much. Norvo's got a reputation. Listen, you trying to get back into the settlement?" Alex exchanged a glance with Tara. "Maybe. Why?" "Because security's crawling all over the place looking for you two. Main gate, residential block, transport hub, all covered." "Why are you telling us this?" Alex asked suspiciously. Another pause. "Let's just say I owe you. After your lady friend put me in my place, I did some thinking. Realized I've been an ass." Alex could hardly believe what he was hearing. Drax, his longtime tormentor, offering help? "If you're serious about getting back in," Drax continued, "there's a maintenance tunnel near the east fence, used by the waste management crews. No security, no cameras." "And why should we trust you?" Tara interjected, leaning close to the communicator. "You shouldn't," Drax admitted, "but right now, I'm your best shot at getting back inside without being caught." After ending the call, Alex and Tara debated their options. The maintenance tunnel could be a trap, but with the main entrances under surveillance, they had limited choices. "I think we should risk it," Alex finally decided. "Drax may be a jerk, but he's never struck me as the type to do Norvo's dirty work." Tara nodded reluctantly. "Your instincts about people have been good so far," she said with a small smile. "You chose me, after all." "Best decision I ever made," Alex replied, leaning up to kiss her. The maintenance tunnel was exactly where Drax had described, a rusted metal hatch partially concealed by scrub vegetation near the eastern perimeter. It opened with a protesting creak, revealing a dark passage that smelled strongly of the settlement's waste processing system. "Charming," Tara muttered as they climbed inside. The tunnel was narrow and low-ceilinged, forcing Tara to crouch uncomfortably as they made their way forward. Despite the unpleasant conditions, Alex found himself admiring her adaptability, never complaining, always focused on their survival. "You know," he said as they navigated the dimly lit passage, "most people would be freaking out right now, running from dangerous aliens, crawling through a sewer tunnel, carrying stolen property." "I'm not most people," Tara replied with a wink of her middle eye. "Besides, this isn't even the worst date I've been on." Alex laughed despite their predicament. "Oh, really? I'd love to hear about these other dates." "Maybe someday," she said, her tone suddenly more serious. "If we get out of this mess—" "When," Alex corrected her, "when we get out of this mess." The tunnel eventually opened into a maintenance shed on the outskirts of the settlement's industrial sector. As they cautiously emerged, a familiar figure stepped out of the shadows. "Took you long enough," Drax said, his scales rippling with what might have been nervousness. "We need to move fast. Norvo's men are everywhere, and Malketh's mercenaries have been spotted in the commercial district." "Why are you helping us?" Tara asked directly, her stance protective as she positioned herself slightly in front of Alex. Drax's reptilian features contorted into what might have been embarrassment. Let's just say I've seen what happens to people who cross Norvo. Nobody deserves that, not even a human. It wasn't exactly a heartfelt apology for years of torment, but coming from Drax, it was practically a declaration of friendship. So what's the plan? Alex asked, adjusting his grip on the case. My place first, Drax replied. It's safe, at least for now. Then we figure out what's in that case that's got everyone so worked up. As they prepared to follow Drax through the back alleys of Krell's Landing, Alex caught Tara's eye. The look they exchanged contained everything they couldn't say aloud. Fear, determination, and the unspoken promise that whatever happened next, they would face it together. Drax's home was surprisingly comfortable, a spacious apartment in the settlement's mid-tier residential zone, with actual furniture designed for various species. Alex wondered how a dock worker could afford such accommodations, but decided that was a question for another time. Let's see what all the fuss is about, Drax said, gesturing to the case that Alex had placed on the dining table. The three of them gathered around as Alex examined the locking mechanism. It was sophisticated, but not impenetrable. After a few minutes of careful manipulation, the lock disengaged with a soft click. Here goes nothing, Alex murmured, lifting the lid. Inside, nestled in protective foam, was a device unlike anything they'd seen before. It resembled a smooth, metallic sphere about the size of Alex's fist, with intricate patterns etched across its surface that seemed to shift and change as they watched. What is it? Drax asked, leaning closer. Before anyone could answer, the sphere activated, rising a few inches above the foam. A soft blue light emanated from it, and suddenly the room was filled with holographic symbols and equations that rotated slowly around them. It's beautiful, Tara whispered, her three eyes wide with wonder. Alex reached out cautiously, his fingers passing through one of the holographic displays. The symbols responded to his movement, rearranging themselves into new patterns. I think it's some kind of translation device, he said slowly, but more advanced than anything I've ever seen. As if confirming his theory, the sphere pulsed, and the symbols transformed into words. English, Proximan, Saurian, and a dozen other languages, all displaying the same message. Universal Translator Protocol initiated, neural mapping in progress. Neural mapping? Drax backed away nervously. Is it scanning our brains? I don't think it's dangerous, Alex said, fascinated by the technology. Look how the translations are becoming more refined. It was true, the holographic text was evolving, becoming more nuanced with each pulse of light. And not just language translations, but cultural references, emotional contexts, even subtle body language cues from different species were being mapped and explained. This is revolutionary, Tara breathed. Do you understand what this means? True interspecies communication. Not just words, but genuine understanding. Alex nodded slowly. No wonder Norvo and Malketh want it so badly. Whoever controls this technology could revolutionize diplomacy, trade, everything. Or use it to manipulate and exploit, Drax added grimly. The sphere pulsed again, projecting what appeared to be a message. Project Genesis, developed by Human Proximan Research Coalition, for peaceful implementation across all sentient species, not for military or coercive applications. Alex and Tara exchanged startled glances. Human Proximan Coalition? He asked. Did you know about this? Tara shook her head. No, but it explains why the technology responds so well to both of us. It was designed for our species to work together. A sudden pounding at the door interrupted their discovery. Security! Open up! Drax moved to a window, peering through the blinds. Norvo's men, he hissed, and I think I see Malketh's mercenaries taking positions across the street. We're surrounded. Alex looked at the sphere, then at Tara, an idea forming. I think I know how to get us out of this, he said, carefully lifting the device. But I need you both to trust me. Minutes later, Alex stood at Drax's front door, the sphere cradled in his hands. Tara positioned herself behind him, while Drax reluctantly agreed to open the door. As security forces poured in, weapons drawn, Alex held up the sphere. "I wouldn't do that if I were you," he said with newfound confidence. "Not unless you wanted to destroy the most valuable technology in the sector." The guards hesitated, looking to their leader, a stern-faced Taurian who Alex recognized as one of Norvo's lieutenants. "Hand over the device, human," the Taurian ordered. "This doesn't concern you." "Actually, it does," Alex replied, activating the sphere with a gentle touch. The room filled once again with holographic displays. This technology was created by a human Proximan coalition. "It belongs to our species." Outside, more commotion erupted as Malketh himself arrived, a sleek, serpentine alien with iridescent scales. "Whatever Norvo's offering, I'll double it," he called from the doorway. "It's not for sale," Terra declared, stepping forward to stand shoulder to shoulder with Alex. "To either of you." Alex manipulated the sphere, bringing up the project specifications. This device is designed to foster understanding between species, to bridge cultural and linguistic gaps. In the right hands, it could transform relations throughout the sector. In the wrong hands. He let the implication hang in the air. "What do you propose?" Norvo asked, pushing his way through his security detail. The Taurian looked less intimidating than Alex remembered, almost desperate. "A neutral commission," Alex said firmly. "Representatives from all major species in the sector, working together to implement this technology for everyone's benefit. No monopolies, no advantages, just better understanding for all." "Ridiculous," Malketh hissed. "The strong determine how resources are allocated." "That kind of thinking is exactly why you can't have this," Terra responded. "Besides, we've already transmitted the device's specifications to both the human embassy and the Proximan consulate. If anything happens to us, they'll know exactly who's responsible." This was a bluff, but neither Norvo nor Malketh could risk calling it. The involvement of two major galactic powers would bring scrutiny neither could afford. "What's your price?" Norvo asked finally. Alex smiled. "Safe passage off Krell's landing, a substantial consulting fee for both of us, and official recognition as the rightful custodians of this technology. And one more thing," Terra added, "amnesty for anyone who helped us." She glanced at Drax, who looked surprised by her inclusion of him in their demands. After tense negotiations, an agreement was reached. The Universal Translator would be developed by a multi-species commission, with Alex and Terra serving as primary consultants due to their unique human-Proximan partnership. Their knowledge of both cultures made them ideal interpreters of the technology's capabilities. 3 months later, Alex stood on the observation deck of their new home, a spacious apartment in the diplomatic sector of New Terra, a human colony that had become the headquarters for the Universal Translation Commission. Terra joined him, wrapping her powerful arms around him from behind. "Happy?" she asked, resting her chin on top of his head in what had become a familiar gesture of affection. "Beyond happy," he replied, turning to face her. "Who would have thought that ordering a mail-order bride would lead to all this?" Terra laughed, her 3 eyes crinkling with mirth. "I certainly didn't expect to find myself co-chairing an interspecies commission when I stepped off that transport." "Any regrets?" Alex asked, suddenly serious. In response, Terra lifted him effortlessly, bringing them face to face. "Not one," she said before kissing him deeply. Later that evening, as they lay together in their custom-made bed, specially designed to accommodate their size difference, Alex marveled at how much his life had changed. From a lonely, disrespected courier to a respected diplomat with the most amazing partner he could imagine. All because he took a chance on an interstellar matchmaking service. "You know," Terra murmured sleepily beside him, "on Proxima, there's a belief that the universe brings together those who are meant to find each other, no matter how unlikely the pairing might seem. Like a human man and a blue alien woman twice his size?" Alex asked with a smile. "Exactly like that," she replied, pulling him closer. "Some might call it fate. I call it the best delivery you ever made." Alex laughed softly, settling into her embrace, and for once the package was exactly as advertised, only better. Outside their window, the lights of New Terra twinkled like stars, a testament to humanity's place in the vast galactic community. And in their home, A human and his Proximan bride had found something neither expected when their journey began. Not just respect or safety or even passion, but a love that transcended species, a partnership that would help bridge the gap between worlds. It was, Alex thought as he drifted off to sleep in Tara's arms, the perfect delivery indeed.